How's it going, guys, and welcome to the next episode of our Towns LP. Where we had left off here in the township of Boo, many of these things were a little different. So what we've gotten is we've gotten our complete archwork done on the front of our little dormitory structure. We've also gotten multiple layers of the walls done here on our workshop area. So now what we need to do is I'm working on a way to get them all to flow together. If you can see right here, I've made kind of a stairwell. You can't really see it because of the way the game works, but there's a stairwell though. You just have to trust me on it, and it brings you up to here. So let's work on the next layer of this entire structure. So what I'm going to need to do is I was fiddling around kind of with the geometry of the whole thing and just trying to get it in order, and we're going to need some wood blocks. So let's jump in and we're going to grab some wood blocks here. There we are. And we're going to leave that for the doorway, and we're going to bring this all the way down to the end. And hopefully our townies spring into action and take care of that in a timely manner. I don't really like sitting around, especially when I'm on camera. I don't like sitting around in real life anyways, just waiting on things. So hopefully our townies do not screw this up and they make this work very quickly. This is going to go up a little further. I'm trying to do kind of a two-tier thing here. So you'll have this front arch, then you'll have kind of a back arch, and it'll have kind of a Barney look to it. Not Barney the dinosaur, but Barney as in looks like a barn. So it'll have kind of a farming look to it, but in any case, there's going to be 8 or 9 more rooms up here, which is going to allow us to expand, get a few more workers, get a little bit more work done, and keep our workflow nice and clear, because as of right now, with the projects that we're trying to attempt, I'm going to need quite a few more workers. Going down to the bottom layer here, you'll see I still haven't opened up the -4. I haven't felt brave enough yet. I just don't trust in my heroes. I haven't made a silver weapon yet for my guards, so maybe that's what I'll do. Let's jump in here, and we'll go to our production menu. We'll go over to military items, weapons, and we will knock out a silver sword real fast. That silver sword, how much silver do we have? We actually have 6 silver, so we actually have plenty of silver. So there's 6 silver there. Let's see if we can make him any silver armor. Running through. I'm pretty sure that we need a little bit of iron, but that's okay, we have that. Let's make he has a diorite breastplate already, so let's make him a silver pair of pants. Some silver pants, some noble silver pants, and actually we only want to produce 1. If you haven't caught on yet, the ones on the left is how many you want them to produce. That number will tick down as you go along, and the one on the right is how many you want them to keep on hand at the same time. So, just in reiteration, I know I've said that in earlier episodes, but if you're coming in here in the middle, that's pretty much how that system works. As we're building here, get these kind of menus to close down a little bit. I am going to top off this building. It's going to look kind of castly. I am considering putting a little walkway in right here, and then maybe building a really sheer stairwell to take you up, or maybe a ladder, and then people can get on top of the building. Maybe we'll put like a little training center up there for all of our militias and our guards, which right now all we have is Tybalt Vernon. He's the only guard we have at the moment, but once we get him equipped up, we'll start doing some other guards once we get a few more immigrants. So I'd say we probably need at least 9 to 10 more immigrants before we can really be efficient. Let me scan through up here and make sure that we don't have any sieges coming in on the way, because that would be unfortunate at the moment. I really don't have any way to police and force things through a choke point right now. We are wide open as a little culture. You can see that we're missing some mud here. I've sold several hundred more to the last couple merchants that keep coming through in exchange for just various materials and things we're going to need in the future. But once this is all out of the way, we'll be able to do a few more houses. Maybe not some clown houses. These are kind of dumb looking. I'm a little embarrassed by this building, mostly because the elastics or the glue makes the roof look ridiculous. I wouldn't hate it quite as much if the roof didn't look so ridiculous, but there's really not a whole lot of ways that I can fix it, so we're just going to leave it as is. Down here, I think I have a pretty solid mining task going along, and I am going to check in on it, and it looks like they're getting stuff done. We don't have enough coal right here just yet to put down a mine, but I think there's more than enough coal up here for us to put down a mine, but I don't want to spare the iron just yet. In the last town, when we were at Mount Worthless, before this settlement, I got myself into a situation where I was mining out more things than I could use. It really wasn't that great. We didn't use that much coal, unfortunately, so the coal just kind of went to waste. And we're going to add the next layer here, adding carefully the stone archwork. There we are. There we are. And we'll add one right here as well. I can't guarantee that this is going to connect the way I want it to, so I may have to do some revisions after the fact to get this to look nice, but we'll do what we got to do when we got to do it. Now going back to our wood walls here, we're going to go ahead and place these. There we are. And these last couple episodes have been building episodes. That's really all there is left to do in Towns. Towns doesn't have a really well-developed endgame aside from descending further and further into the dungeon. The deepest I've been is like the -14 or like the -16. It gets pretty far down there and the monsters get pretty wicked, but really there's not a whole lot to worry about. Part of me wants to, let me see if that's I need to see if this armor's all done. Is this armor done? Did anybody craft it? So there's our silver pants and our silver sword. Where is that at? Hopefully nobody picked that up. I'll be pretty upset if somebody yoinked that silver sword. It doesn't look like anybody did though, so maybe it's just laying around. Well, we'll equip him anyway, so let's go to his wooden pants. We're going to give him some silver greaves now, and we'll take a look. Ah, silver longsword of the tiger. So you can proc, I've never brought this up before, but you can have a programmed random occurrence, or proc, where you randomly get a magical item that's really, really powerful. So you want to keep an eye out for those. It's very, oh, they made it at a masonry table, that's why. Okay. It's really, really cool though when it happens, and how we're going to do this now is his defense is high enough to where I can put his patrol point right here. There we are. And we'll just have one person dig through that block right there, and we will have officially opened up the -4. Congratulations, everybody. We are moving on up in the world, and this should allow us to see if there's any iron on this floor, possibly any silver, any exploitable resources that we can keep ourselves locked and loaded with, because in the greater scheme of things, I would always prefer to have a bigger gun than my opponent. Maybe that's just kind of like a phallic envy type thing, I don't know. It's gotta be something Freudian. God only knows. So now that these blocks are being put in place, thank you, bald man, thank you very much. We will, actually I forgot a layer, so let's put one in right here. There we are. And once, I don't know if I should line this with stone possibly, that might kind of look cool to have a stone archway, but I'm not gonna, I'll deconstruct it later and I'll handle it as is necessary. So once all of these blocks are in place, we should get somebody, some intrepid citizen should come in here and kind of get rid of this. I will forestall the erosion of this wall, or the destruction of this wall, as long as possible, because I really want Tybalt Vernon to be standing right here, ready to go with his silver sword. Awesome. That attack value is just... It's Excelsior. That's the only word that I could get to come to mind. For some reason my brain locks up. Like, once again, those kind of failed executables. So that block's there, fantastic. This is going to look a little weird in between here. I haven't really figured out what I'm going to do with this kind of walkway. Right now it's going to lend it a little bit of layering, and I can't guarantee it's going to look good. Maybe I'll put like a torch or like some candles right here like I did. Just kind of light the building up a little bit. I wish they would put nightfall into the game. I really wish there was nightfall and like worse things happened at night. Kind of that survival mechanic, because you guys know me, I love survival games, so anything that's got that survival aspect to it I really enjoy. There is a game that I've been looking at that takes place like in Canada, and you've got to guard your cabin. It's like in Canada in the 1800s, and you've got to guard your cabin with your wounded brother or something in it from werewolves every night, and it just keeps getting worse. And you earn money from like hides and hunting and things in between rounds. It looks really cool, but I'm not a fan of tower defense games. Now you would think with all the strategy games that I play that I would like tower defense. I'm not a tower defense fan. Like, it's a genre that I just don't understand. I don't, like, if you enjoy tower defense games, good on you, but I can't do it. I just get bored so quick. I feel like it's all been done. Like, there are very few tower defense games that bring anything new to the genre, which I think is my main complaint. Once you've played one tower defense game, you've more or less played them all. I could be wrong. That being said, I don't play very many, so there may be these crazy genres of tower defense games out there that I just don't know about. I may just be ignorant and rambling. It would not be the first time, guys. So, mind this wall. Tybalt Vernon is on duty for a brief amount of time. Please, someone come destroy this wall. Destroy it? My inkling here, my suspicions are that I'm going to have to cancel out all this mining because it's queued last in the mining queue. So let's go ahead. Oops. That was the wrong thing to do. I told them to mine more. I said work harder, you lazy bastards. So let's get those all gotten rid of, because we have like 400 stone right now anyways. It's not a big deal. And we'll get rid of that as well. There we go. So that should fast track getting rid of this right here. Hopefully someone comes down right now. Hopefully someone with weapons and armor, to be honest. Somebody with a pick in one hand and a weapon in the other. And I missed something. Leave it to my townies. Townies are an interesting lot. I feel they're somewhat autistic sometimes, because like you tell them to do things and they don't do them. But then when you want them to focus on something, they find the strangest task. Like they find that one block that you missed and they just hyper focus on it. So I don't know. They seem to be somewhat of savants at finding that one thing that I screwed up on. Now that looks kind of nice. This may actually end up looking cool, maybe? Or it may just end up looking ridiculous, I don't know. I have no clue how this is going to turn out. The bottom floor was kind of improvised along with this archway, and then the rest of it's improvised too. We'll see what happens. It should kind of have a roundy, domey... It won't look roundy and domey. Those are words that I just made up, by the way. Roundy and domey. Those aren't real words. Oh, and we did it without aggroing, so let's... Oh, there he is. Fight! And this should go, yeah, pretty quickly. Silver weaponry, this is the exact reason right here. As I was explaining in earlier episodes, this is the precise reason that you want to have silver and gold gear. You can make it without a knight smithy. It's ridiculously powerful. It allows you to get all kinds of carnage done. And we'll send him into this room to kind of get a little forward outpost taken care of. I have no clue what Vialmer Vavers is equipping himself with at the moment, so I am going to have my guards come along and just generally act as bodyguards for the heroes for just this kind of beginning part, because this is really the most dangerous period when you first go in, because they can get kited back. You can end up with townies running in here to try and gather things. You can just end up with situations. So I am going to keep Tybalt Vernon kind of just patrolling between these 2 points, and hopefully nobody makes a sprint back. Hopefully, actually, my other hope is really that we end up getting some of these barbarians killed off. If we don't, I'll put a door right here and I'll just lock them in the dungeon until they starve to death. It sounds harsh, but we need real heroes. Barbarians are just lackluster heroes, but we really can't get anything. This is kind of a mechanic that most people don't know about. I didn't know about it until my last game when one of my fine viewers told me about it, but basically how it works is barbarians will sleep on a floor, so until we have actual furnished rooms, you actually have a higher chance, I think, to get barbarians until you furnish your rooms out. I am excited about getting all this placed in here, which is really why I'm going to try and fast track it for this episode. If I can keep myself on the proper layer here, I am really trying to fast track this facility right here. Hopefully it doesn't go up to the max layer. I don't think it will. We should only go up like 4 more layers, I think. Yeah, we should only go up like 4 more layers. It's going to give it a rounded appearance. If we round the sides and we round the front, the eye's natural tendency is to kind of blend it together and make the whole thing look rounded, which is what I'm going for. It should look like a semi-rounded treasure chest, so less than square, because square buildings are just, you know, they're kind of easy. I wanted to step it up a notch on this one. I'm not going to place the roofs to this workshop area just yet, because I don't want to clog up our queue with a bunch of stone hauling and stone moving. I really want to accomplish something this episode, and really if I take on too many tasks with this small of a workforce, they aren't going to get done, unfortunately. So let's make sure we're on the proper layer here, and we're going to start dropping some blocks. There we go. And we'll drop some blocks there. You'll notice on this side that I'm not messing around, and on the back side, I'm not messing around with any of the architecture. That's because you're not going to see it anyways. It's going to be gone. So unless they kind of come up with a way for you to rotate buildings and whatnot, there's nothing to worry about in this situation. Actually, that one right there needs to go. That one looks bad. I don't like it. And so we are going to have to give the impression that it's rounding on this side just by keeping the motif consistent. So to a certain extent I am... Hey, we have a new Bentley. Our new Bentley! Welcome to the roof, Senor Chicken, Senor Pollo. And now we wait. And now we wait. So how have you guys been? You guys been good? I've been good. My testing schedule is not quite over yet, so film and, you know, these general... I don't know if I would classify LPs as legitimate film. As somebody that enjoys movies, I don't want to lump myself in with the actual talented directors that do things and, like, write scripts, so I'm not going to make that assertion, but I've had a little bit more time to record, so it's been nice. I'm a little bit ahead of schedule. You know, there's some changes coming up in the channel, not foreboding changes. I want to make that clear. These are not negative changes. They are good changes. And if they were negative changes, we would come up with ways to get around them, because you can't get rid of me, guys. I am planning on doing this for the long haul. I really do enjoy producing these semi-blog, semi-LPs for you guys. I enjoy interacting with you, so I'm not going anywhere. That's always, like, I get weird comments sometimes, or I get weird letters sometimes from people like PMs who are like, oh, please don't stop doing what you're doing. You know, my favorite LPer from before quit. I'm not going anywhere. Not going anywhere. To be frank, outside of school, this is really the most fun that I have. Once you get to your senior kind of year in college, you guys will see. If you're working your way through, like, most of your friends have graduated, like, there's not a whole lot of things to do anymore. There's not a whole lot of social occasions occurring like they were, like, in your sophomore, freshman, junior year. It's just kind of finishing out your time. I assume it's kind of like what the last year of prison feels like. You're just finishing your bid, getting it done, just with less molestation and less shanks, really. I mean, I haven't taken, like, a full census of how many shanks there are on my campus, on my college campus, but I would assume that the volume of weaponry is probably lower in a college than a prison. I mean, a prison seems like the kind of place you would need some weaponry. Maybe I'll put, well, I don't know if that'll work. I don't know if that'll work, and I don't want to dedicate to it until I know it'll work. So I would hate to have to tear down a bunch of this just to make the whole thing work. And what we'll do is let's start putting in our housing here. We'll see how this fits. We'll start playing around with zones while we're waiting for some of this construction to occur, just so we're not sitting around doing nothing. These will very likely be 3x3s on this floor because I do want to get bang for my buck here. Not banged for my buck, that's prostitution, and that is generally frowned upon, but I do want to get bang for my buck here. So we're going to make these rooms a little smaller than we did before, and hopefully the math works. If I have to extend these out to 4x4s, we'll do what we have to, make the whole floor plan work properly. But until then, and I don't even think a 4x4 would work with that one, so maybe we'll leave this like open, like a vestibule maybe. Some kind of, well, who knows. It's not going to line up properly either way. It'll line up properly right here, but this side, not so much. You know how it goes. Maybe we'll fill this hallway with, we'll make this maybe a makeshift goodie hallway with lots of torches and things to make people happier as they walk down the hall. That might be nice. That's what we'll consider doing. So let's take our walls here, and I'm not going to close off this. I remember the general theme that we had going for our last building was kind of an Arabian Nights open inn, kind of everybody sleeps on cushions and kind of a common area. I really liked that. It's hard for me to describe why I liked it. That's going to look weird over here and it's going to bother me, but we'll deal with it in a minute. And actually, I'll just cancel the construction right here for now. There we go. So we'll take these blocks and we'll put those in right there. Our wallets are fattening. As you can see, we're almost up to 10,000 gold pieces, which is actually pretty wealthy for this game. We can't buy the nicest stuff. I mean, some of the nicer things I've seen have been like 22,000. They get kind of expensive, but we're getting to the point now where if we threw our wallet at somebody and it hit them in the side of the head, they'd be like, hey, who's throwing bricks wrapped in leather? And that's really the point we want to get to. We really want to be at that point where our wallet could be used as a weapon. We also want to keep things nice and orderly. We don't want things running amok. And I always thought amok, not to, digress like I do, but I always thought amok sounded like a weird, like, Babylonian god, like Grishnu or like some crazy Marduk type god. And if you could run amok, if you have slightly less, if your chaos has slightly less velocity, could you be walking amok? Or could you be standing still amok if things are going in order? Like, that's one of those words that I've never really understood the origin of. I should probably Google it and find out. I like to look up linguistic things. It's kind of an addiction. I'm an amateur. I wouldn't call myself actually an amateur linguistic because I'm a geologist through and through. Rocks are my thing. I like rocks. That's really, we grow beards, we wear flannel. We like rocks. It's a general theme. You get your geo tuxedo on, that's your flannel. You got your flannel shirt, your geo tuxedo, go out in the field. By day 7 or 8 it gets kind of smelly. Wool flannels kind of tend to absorb the biology. It's a little disgusting. That's why I switched out of wool. I try to go with cotton now, although all of my field instructors, they say that cotton is the fabric of death, because once it gets wet, you're just toast out in the field. But really, I don't feel like field camps and things are like a life and death situation. Usually you're within like an hour of the nearest sea. I mean, if you break your ankle, you could be in trouble on top of a mountain, but we'll think about that once the ankle's broken. I definitely don't have any plans to be sawing my leg off with a pocket knife. That would definitely mean that some of my field surveys had gone awry. If you end up sawing your leg off with, oh god, we seem to have had an incursion of water here. That's kind of strange the way that's, maybe it's air pressure. We'll just assume that it's air pressure, keeping that from just exploding into awful, watery, tombey death. And that's another thing. The next thing we're going to be working on is kind of our necropolis. I've had my eye on this hill now for quite some time, and I think we're going to do a necropolis type deal over here. I'm going to do 2 more layers off, and that should give me enough space to kind of build, well, maybe 2 more layers may give me enough space. And we're going to do kind of a mausoleum burial area over here, because as you can see, I've had to get rid of one of the graves over here. We had 3, I had to destroy one to make this building. I would prefer that our town not end up haunted, so I would prefer not to destroy any more tombstones. As far as I know, the dead seem to generally get upset when you disturb their tombs. It generally does not seem to work out for explorers and people of that general profession, but so we're going to keep ourselves out of that paranormal activity, which, by the way, that movie was creepy as hell. I am a horror movie fan, and it is very rare that a horror movie scratches that itch for me where I'm like, yeah, like I come out of the theater, I'm super stoked. Paranormal Activity, for whatever reason, it never gets old for me. I just keep feeding them my money. Every time they put out a film, I'm just, take my wallet and make Paranormal Activity 37 so I can go and see it in theaters. Although it's one of those situations where I have trouble getting anybody to go with me. Most people that I know don't like horror movies, so I end up not being able to see horror films, or I end up like watching them in the dead of night by myself, which is actually how I prefer them. So I guess that works out. Introverted. Invite friends to horror movies so that they won't come. Introversion Splattercat. Now, what do we have going on over here in our stockpile? We've got an iron breastplate, we've got some bone helmets and things. Alright, I've heard a sneaky plot for us to get more bones is to take a bunch of chickens and just let them starve to death. Just lock the door so that all the chickens keep starving and you just end up with piles and piles and piles of bones, and then you can make all the cool bone gear you want. Because I still have that aspiration to have everybody in our society running around in a weird orcish bone helmet, just looking angry and generally intimidating everybody that comes into town. It might keep the rogues from stealing from us. The rogues have a horrible tendency to just pilfer, which they're rogues. I mean, you can't really blame them. It's what they do. And what have I done here? Dear God. Fall into place, maybe? Nope. It's not going to be obliging. I hate it when I notice things that I screwed up, because then in this game it's really difficult to fix stuff like that. Like in Minecraft, if you're in creative mode or whatever, you can just fly up and fix it. And even in survival mode, it's generally pretty easy to fix anything that you've screwed up. But in this game, it's kind of a task nightmare. You gotta... And I really have no clue how this is going to turn out. This may look really strange. This may end up looking like some weird art student's graduate thesis, I don't know. Some sculptural architects. I don't know. As you can tell, I have no background in any type of building, so we'll see how these things turn out. And I hate it when all your townies arrive at the same time to place blocks, because sometimes they get in each other's way, and it's just a mess. It's a mess. That's really the only way I know how to describe it. It looks awful. Once these all peek out, I am going to line this up with this right here. Whichever layer these peek out on is going to be the layer that we stop on. So let's get this wood placed. There we go. And once that's all taken care of, we'll figure out a way to make this all connect without looking funky. I have this strange feeling that I'm going to end up with a weird geoid structure that's just going to look super funky and super derpy. But if it does, we'll call it the Derp Hut, and given that our townies live in it, the Derp Hut, you know, send them to the Derp Hut. Now let's furnish this thing up here. Let's get some candles, some general ambiance going. Maybe put in some berry white. See if we can get our townies to breed a little bit, because our immigrants don't like to show up. But let's get some general sleeperies taken care of here. And actually, with these all done, we can nix all of this. So we'll get all of these crappy personal rooms over here that I've just been staring at and hating since the dawn of time. And we finally have the space to at least get started on our tavern. And let's destroy the market here. And we're going to move the market indoors, just like we had planned. So let's take our zoning menu here, and we'll go to Market, if you prefer to put your emphasis on the wrong syllable there. Our Market. And we'll expand it a little bit. I want it to go all the way up against the wall. We're going to have lots of market space, because we're going to be making them deals, making them dollars, making that guap. We need to get that money. We need to pile it up, so... We'll go a little bit larger this way, maybe. Yeah, that'll look cool. And then maybe we'll... Actually, let's redo it. We'll redo it. I don't like what I did there. I don't like it. So there we go. And then we'll expand from here. Nice, nice, nice. And then we'll expand from there. And that's going to be our little free air market area. So this is going to be out in the open. I'm still playing around with ideas for scaffoldings and kind of pillars to make it look semi-indoor, semi-outdoor. Make it basically look like it has an awning, but it is going to technically be outdoors. We'll put a little walkway in between. It'll look nice. This is going to look pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with this situation. And the fact that everyone is gathering in the market leads me to believe that there's not enough work to go around and no invasion, right? Okay, good. Wait, what? I saw red. I saw red with death involved. Is everybody still alive? Dehootie Todd is here, Bonifant is here, Pippery's here, and Vivers is here. Everybody's checked in, so I think we're alright. How many extra beds do we have here? This is so much effort just to get a little bit of extra personal space done. So we have like 4 or 5. It takes them a little bit to show up anyway, so we may have some time to play with. Is our merchant here? Hopefully our merchant doesn't get stuck. I've heard legends about merchants having issues finding things that are like indoors sometimes, so hopefully that does not become a reality for us. It might be depressing, and I feel as though this is still messed up. It is still messed up, so let's place a block there, and then we'll be done with this floor. And this is really gonna look funky, I can tell already. It's okay though, it's okay. The stair step is gonna allow us to build a little bit easier anyways, so what can you do? And we haven't stair-stepped over here, so they can move that diagonal, though, so it should work out okay. We'll go back to our wood menu here, and we will drop that in like so. Because we look very nice. It look nice. There we are. So where is my merchant at? My merchant? Oh, he's a bone merchant. We really don't care about him, aside from helmets, because I am trying to accumulate as many cool helmets as possible. He's got the Trickster, which, strangely enough, a lot of the epic weapons in this game, like the ones with names, are nowhere near as good as the ones that you can generally just build yourself. Like, I have yet to see a legendary. I've seen one or two that were like hands down more banging than anything else we could get. Like, they were actually like terrifying weapons. But for the most part, the things that you seem to... What happened here? See, that's why I hate it when they drop things off at the same time. They cancel out, because if there's someone in the way, they won't place the block. But as I was saying, this should be like the last lair, maybe. God, I hope so. It's starting to look a little weird. It's starting to look a little, well... I don't know what to think about this building. This building is definitely unique. So... unique and derpy, possibly? Although, how long was this right here? This was 5? So, there's our 5 right there. So this is our last layer. Okay. And then we'll figure out a way to make this not look so strange and derpy. Because right now, it needs something. It definitely needs something, because it's looking weird. Maybe I'll just coat it with torches and hope that the shininess makes people think it's awesome. Who knows? Now let's go with our furnishings here, and let's get some beds put in place so people can relax. They can get kind of their sleep restored a little quicker. There we are. There we are. And there we are. And I don't know what I'm going to do with this right here. Maybe I'll just expand her room or his room so that it's a little bit larger. Maybe I'll give him a door so that it doesn't stand out quite as much. But we've got the bare basics of some of the things we need right here for our hallway of happiness. Hopefully everybody can just absorb happiness from the area around them. We'll expand these out, actually. There we are. Give everybody a little bit of extra space. I was conservative with the size of my rooms because I wasn't sure how much space I was going to have and how this was going to line up with the wall. The nice thing about building games like this is you can always fix things. That's really... there's no such thing as mistakes. You can make a mistake, but you can always even it out. Like, this still looks nice. It still looks symmetrical, even though you've got this extra room right here that's out of the theme. You can always fix your mistakes. So if you make a large construction mistake, never worry about it. You can always fix it. You don't actually have to destroy in order to create sometimes. You can just kind of build around it and it'll still look nice. What's going on down here in the dungeon? Let's take a look around and make sure there's no crazy things going... Ooh, and there's a Goblinite helmet. Let's give that to our guard real fast. Goblinite helmet. There it is. We'll have him equip it. Now he's got a green helmet. And the ongoing head problem, we had discussed this on the town's forums, where we need a place to limit how many heads are laying around, because goblin severed heads are just everywhere most of the time, and it becomes a frustration. It becomes one of those things that's just obnoxious to look at. Unfortunately, my heroes appear to be rather resilient. They don't appear to be giving up the ghost as much as I would like them to. A few bandanas. Ooh, that is a coal seam right there, my friends. That is a coal seam. That is a ridiculous, ridiculous coal seam. If we actually mine that whole thing out, we would have a ridiculous amount of coal. But the thing is, I haven't figured out yet if you can place torches like on walls or anything, so torches appear to just be like a reagent or a reactant for other objects. And right now, that makes building torches absolutely pointless, because you only need them to build other things. You don't actually need... You can't put torches all over the place, and I would love to put torches along the sides of my buildings and whatnot, but the developers don't seem to want that to happen. So there's our second arch. This is a really weird looking building. As far as buildings go, this is a strange one. What we'll do... Trying to get a feel for how high up we're going right now, just to make sure that nothing ends up being screwy. Because I don't like to go back and fix things. I'm one of those people that once I'm done, I am done. That's how I am at work. I try to do everything right the first time, because once it's done, I want to be done. That's like the end of my day. No more. Finito. So that looks pretty nice, actually. I like the way things are turning out. We've got a lot of extra glass here. I haven't decided just how I want to use it yet. I may put it on this lower floor just to make it... We're going to call this the Turtleplex. That's... I placed things on the wrong layer, didn't I? Damn it. Alright, let's go back and we're gonna fix this. We're gonna fix it. We can fix this. I promise. There we go. I swear we can fix this. We can fix it. Unfortunately, we run the risk of ending up with a ridiculous amount of extra blocks. As you can see, they tend to get a little weird sometimes. And that extra block right there, what we'll do with that extra stone block that's marked red is we will scoot it in. So that's gonna go... dropped my cursor. There we are. So that's in place. And so far, so good. So far, so good. I mean, we have a lot of red X's here, which always makes me feel a little weird, but what can you do? What can you do? What can you do? So if we end up with just all of these, yeah, look, sometimes they don't pick up the destroyed blocks. They just kind of ignore them, and then they go and craft new ones, which is an irritating tendency. And is he stuck? No. Okay, good. So we will break these blocks down. I mean, it's kind of a waste of wood, but at least wood is a renewable resource around here, so as long as it's a I hate wasting stone and things that aren't renewable. I mean, they really do give you pretty much an endless supply of stone, but I don't like to waste it still. And this building is looking out much stranger than I expected in the first place. I may end up just kind of blocking it all off, maybe. Leaving the stair steps up until... Yikes, I don't know how to fix this. This is going to be a strange, strange building. A very, very strange building. And somebody dropped a block right there, which is like the worst possible spot they could leave a block. Let's put these last two in place. There we are. And this building's coming along, although it's a little weird. I keep looking at it and being like, so what am I going for here? Like, even I don't know what I'm going for. So we'll place a wood ceiling right there, I guess. I mean, who knows? This could end up looking really awesome, but right now it's got kind of a turtleback or like a hogback thing going on. Kind of a weird superstructure. I like how it looks. It's not that I'm sitting here going, I hate this building like I do with this ugly clown house that I wish would burn down and die in hell. Tell me how you really feel. No, but this building, I like it. I just can't put a finger on what I like about it. It's just a weird, weird building, like an MC Escher-esque building. I don't know. It's pleasing to my eye, though. It is pleasing to my eye, like a shiny red apple. Are shiny red apples pleasing? I don't know. I just kind of said that, but are those considered pleasing in general, like shiny red apples? Who knows? Let's start placing the rest of these, and there we are. We'll start placing the roof here because I did get the project that I wanted to get done finished. So be careful going around the edges there because we don't want, if you go to the corner right here, they may not place the blocks in the right order and you can end up in trouble. So we'll keep putting these in just to even everything out. And I don't think I owe myself any more layers. I think I'm the proper amount of layers up that I want to be right now. Everything looks alright, so I accept it. I accept it. What we'll do is put an extra block there and an extra block there. So we have kind of a large doorway. It's no gateway to Babylon, but it looks fine. It's good enough. And I can fiddle around with these things in the future once we move on to other episodes. So I would like to get the roof accessible up here because I feel like we have a lot of room that's not going to be used. But I don't want to put housing up here. Maybe I'll put, I don't know, maybe I'll put a badger fighting arena or something on top of this little castle complex thing. Did our bone merchant go away yet? Let's just buy something from this idiot so that he'll go away and we can get a real merchant. What do you want? We'll sell you one bone. There you go. I'll give you a bone so that you will leave. Because sometimes that's what you got to do in life. Sometimes you just got to give it a bone and make it go away. Now, whatever your particular issue is. I mean, your issue could be varying things, but boning the issue, sometimes it goes away that way. Sometimes. We've got gravel here, which means we can make flint, but we're not really cooking meat or anything, so really flint is unnecessary at the moment. And I really hope they haven't cleared out this entire floor yet. This floor seems kind of lackluster if they've already... I don't really like these kind of corridors and giant rooms set up that some of the lower floors have. It makes them too easy to navigate. It makes them too quick to finish, so really you end up wanting to delve further down into the dungeon just so you can film an episode, but I don't know. Just so you can make another LP. I like where this is going, and getting this to fit with my tavern is going to be strange, though. I'm not really sure how to rectify that situation or rationalize it yet, but as far as I know, the tavern, maybe it'll have like a room right here, like the greater room. There will be a greater room right here, and then we'll attach the actual rooms that people live into it around kind of in an arc around this, so that if anything comes up out of the dungeon, we can hope and pray that we have a barbarian or something walking around who can soften the blow so that I can get guards in place quickly enough, but who knows. but I am pretty happy with this episode with where it is right now, so I'm gonna break it off. My name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me in the next episode of our Towns LP. I hope you'll join me for future episodes. I hope you had fun watching, and I hope you will join me next time. So I'll see you there, and take care, everybody.